Alright, what's up sports world? It's your boy Akeen and welcome to the Pro Football Exclusive NFL blog. We are on week 5 of the NFL season and I'm very excited this week because there are a lot of interleague games this week for week 5, particularly on Sunday. Now I have a couple of NFC matches that you need to watch this week and I'll give you guys a heads up on that. Start with the game between the Atlanta Falcons headed into Washington to face the Redskins. Now I do like quarterback Matt Ryan. A lot of people have him as one of the front runners for the MVP this season. He's having a great year. Now, one of my best friends, Danny Yoon, he believes that the Washington Redskins is going to pull the upset with this game. I do believe in the Washington Redskins and quarterback RG3, Robert Griffin III. He has a lot of potential, but that defense is just terrible due to their passing defense, mainly because they have no pass rushers. They lost both Ryan Kerrigan and Brian Araco, who are injured, and they're not going to be able to play in this game. And because of those two losses, that's going to be lacking the ability to get to the quarterback. So they need some pass rushers in order to affect that passing defense and be stronger overall as a unit. Now, because of that, they're not going to be able to get to Matt Ryan, so he's going to be able to spread the ball around the field to Tony Gonzalez in the middle or on the outside with Julio Jones and Roddy White. Both these two players can make it to the Pro Bowl this season. And do not forget about running back and other fellow Pro Bowl player, Michael Turner. He's a great running back overall. He had just under 200 yards of total offense last week and a touchdown against the Carolina Panthers. Now, because there's no pass rushers for the Washington Redskins, that defense is going to have a long game against the Atlanta Falcons. I have to go with the Falcons all the way in this matchup. Next thing to talk about, first interleague game, Green Bay is going to be traveling to Indianapolis to face the Colts. Now, I really like what the Colts are doing, starting everything up with Andrew Luck. He does have a victory. He's a tough quarterback, and he is the future for this team. But I don't think they're going to be able to beat this Packer team with all the experienced players, with Aaron Rodgers leading the way at quarterback. I'm going to have to go with the Packers all the way. I think you should go right ahead and, as a sleeper for defense, start Packers defense for fantasy football play. Next game we need to talk about, another interleague game. Number 2, Cleveland's going to be traveling to New York to face the Giants. This is an easy one for me. Cleveland is just a young team, a little bit immature, lack the experience. I got to go with Eli Manning and the Giants. I think they're going to throw the ball all over them. Victor Cruz. And another player I need to mention, Dominic Hickson. He's going to be replacing both Ramses Barden and Hakeem Nicks. Both these two players are out with this matchup. Hakeem Nicks is still dealing with that foot injury, and Ramses Barden had to deal with a concussion. So for a sleeper at the receiver position, you should definitely keep an eye out for Dominic Hickson. You should probably go right ahead and start him. I think he can give you some decent points, probably in the 10-point range. Next game, but I'm going to go with the Giants in this one. Next game we need to talk about, Pennsylvania matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Eagles. I think this is the game of the week. This is going to be a great matchup. This is going to be played at Pittsburgh. Both these two teams have great defenses. It's really the performance of both quarterbacks, Ben Roethlisberger and Michael Vick, who will settle the difference of who will win this matchup. Now, Vick is the more mobile, elusive quarterback compared to Ben Roethlisberger, but Roethlisberger has the better passing ability and he can even break a couple tackles, and he has a little bit of good mobility himself. This is going to be a great matchup. Now, in this matchup, Rashard Mendenhall, the running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's going to be able to play in this matchup, but I strongly suggest you guys do not use him for fantasy football play. I think you should still bench him for this week and see how he performs against that Eagles defense. Also returning, Troy Polamalu, the star safety, NFL Defensive Player of the Year and fellow Defensive Player of the Year, James Harrison, is going to be joining him in this matchup. I have to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers in this one because they do have the home field advantage, and both with the return of Polamalu and Harrison, that would definitely upgrade that defense and be some more these two players can build momentum and inspire this team to play hard in this matchup. But the Eagles defense, they have a great defense as well. Jason Babin, Nandi Asamoah, they have a great defensive unit overall, but I think that because of that home field advantage and the return of Polamalu and Harrison, I have to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers in this matchup. Next game we need to talk about, an NFC matchup between the Seattle Seahawks at Carolina to face the Panthers. Cam Newton, he almost led a good victory last week against the Atlanta Falcons, trying to pull that upset. They had a tough loss, 30-28, but Cam Newton did improve, but he did fumble the football. He just needed to protect the ball a little bit better. Now, one question mark a lot of people have for me for fantasy football play is wide receiver Steve Smith. He's been sitting, he's been pretty much under the radar this year because of Cam Newton. He's been a little bit immature throwing the football this season. That's the reason why Steve Smith has not been having good productivity overall this season. He still has the quickness. He's still a great receiver. It's really all about quarterback Cam Newton and his ability to get him the football. And there were times where Steve Smith was wide open, but I still think you should sit Steve Smith out for this matchup. I just don't have enough faith in Cam Newton and throwing the football. In order for the Carolina Panthers to win in this matchup, they're going to have to run the football well. So a good sleeper running back that I think you should use as a flex player is D'Angelo Williams of the Panthers. He had a pretty decent game against the Atlanta Falcons, and I think he can bring that momentum into this matchup. Now, for Seattle's defense, they have one of the top defenses in the National Football League, particularly in their pass defense. They have a couple of great pass rushers with Bruce Irvin and Chris Clemens, and that secondary is probably the best secondary in the National Football League. That's why I don't think Steve Smith should be able to start this week for fantasy football play. Now, overall for this matchup, I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers to pull the upset. Why? I think Cam Newton started to get that momentum last week in their loss against Atlanta, and Seattle's dealing with a little bit of a quarterback controversy. Actually, quarterback Russell Wilson will still start in this matchup, but he's actually going to be battling out with Matt Flynn because of his mistakes, and for the past couple of weeks, his job is actually in jeopardy. So he needs to step it up in this matchup. But I'm going to go with Carolina with the upset. Now, next game I need to talk about, and last but not least, the Buffalo Bills is going to be playing against the San Francisco 49ers. This is going to be my last interleague game to talk about. This is an easy choice for me. San Francisco, because of that defense, they're definitely going to stop that run. They held all running backs to under 70 yards rushing this season, and I really think that C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson should be sit this week in fantasy football play. I think none of these players are going to do well against that San Francisco defense. But you should go right ahead and start Steve Johnson. He did have a bad week last week, but I think he's going to bounce back this week. He had a bad week against the New England Patriots, but they're going to be throwing the football a lot in this matchup because I think that San Francisco is going to stop that run, which is going to force Ryan Fitzpatrick to throw the football a lot. And I think Steve Smith